Hello, how is everybody? I hope everybody's had a fantastic day. What I want to be speaking about is the Knights of the Round Table. Everybody has either seen the film, The Knights of Story, or if you've done cards, you'll know about King Arthur. Everybody knows who King Arthur is, right? So, the Knights of the Round Table were legendary knights in the medieval Arthurian literature, a civic order dedicated to King Arthur, who met at a round table as a symbol of their equality. And it was also sat at a table with his knights and discussed what was going to happen. And he obviously went with his knights. Um, his mum was pregnant with him. I mean, there's a lot of stories back and forth of who his dad was and things like that. But key figures often included Sir Lancelot, Sir Gawain, and Sir Galahad. I mean, Sir Lancelot was in love with King Arthur's wife. I mean, but he didn't do nothing really about it. I've watched loads and loads of films with King Arthur. Fell in love with King Arthur. Thing with Sword in the Stone. An amazing Disney. I know there's all the controversy over Disney and all the rest of it, but you can't stop loving Disney movies. There's not growing up as an anticipate. I was glued. The Sword in the Stone was one of even my oldest son's first videos at the time. So yeah, it was good. But the number and specific composition of the knights varied across different versions of the legend, ranging from a small group to over 100. Now, back in the time, what they tried to say was King Arthur wasn't a real deal. It was only a myth. And then no, suddenly they're saying it is real. It has been real because it's what I'm saying. They have, if you look up the Orient, I can't pronounce that, but if you look up about why bells were removed, because bells are healing. So, if you look up everything like that, because look what they're doing now. They're trying to change history. They did then change history. So you don't know what's the truth. Remember, we're only going off what their truth is, and that's why you need to keep digging and digging for the truth. Key aspects of the Knights of the Round Table. Symbolism: the circular shape of the table itself signified the equality of all its members, a novel concept in a hierarchical society. King Arthur fought for his people, and what they were going after and looking for was the Holy Grail, which all these sort of people have a Holy Grail. They will never, ever find it. Never. And I mean never, because they're not supposed to find it. These people, the elites and things like that. Why do you think they're shutting off lands and things like that? Because they're trying to deceive you, open up your eyes and be awake to all that what's going on. Purpose: the knights were tasked with maintaining peace and order in Arthur's kingdom, and in later traditions to undertake the mysterious quest for the Holy Grail. Obviously, as I said, if they said it was fictional. The knights are not based on historical figures, but are likely composite figures derived from early medieval folktales. Now, they were true. Believe me, they were true. Key members, while not an exhaustive or a definitive list, some of the most well-known knights mentioned include Sir Lancelot, Gawain, Sir Galahad, Sir Percival, Sir Tristan, Sir Gareth, Sir Kay. And this was Sir Arthur's trusted knights. Because if you look in the films, even in the cartoon, we'll go for the cartoon, where he was just a barn boy basically, and came out, found a sword, and then became king. But it was to do with his mum getting pregnant, because obviously back then, in these times, they believed in a lot of magic and things like that, and they used magic to deceive you, as in the television televises you to glue you to, so you don't see the truth, and that is magic. Listen to your inner voice, listen to everything. What do you think is true? The origin, the stories of the Knights of the Round Table first appeared in the matter of Britain literature in the mid 12th century. Obviously, the tragic end is when Sir Arthur fights and goes onto the boat to Morpeth, and he dies where he's kept. And the stories are that one day he'll come back. The tragic end, the fellowship ultimately shattered due to the betrayal by Sir Lancelot and the affair with Queen Guinevere, leading to the deaths of many knights and the fracturing of the order. I mean, I did see the Sir Lancelot was in love. He was in love with Ingrid, but according to stories, they didn't have an affair, and it destroyed. That was it, done. And Sir Lancelot went, but he lost his greatest knight when he went. The Knights of the Fellowship of King Arthur first appeared in the matter of Britain, the 12th century, as a civic order dedicated to ensuring the peace of Arthur's kingdom following an early warring period, entrusted in the latter years to undergo a mystical quest for Oslo Holy Grail. The Round Table, which they meet, is a symbol of the quality of members who range from sovereign royals to minor nobles. And they had to leave their loved ones. It's like anybody that's getting into the army, they've got to leave their loved ones behind, and go fight for their country. I mean, there's different. The various round table stories present at assortment of knights from all over Great Britain and abroad, some of who are even from outside Europe. Their ranks often include Arthur's close and distant relatives such as Alvarin, Asiris, and Ivan, as well as his reconciled former enemies like Gela, Penelor, and Lot. Several, sorry if I butchered their names. No, several of the most notable knights at the Round Table, among them is Bedivere, Gawain, and Kay, are based in an old characters from a host of great warriors associated with Arthur in the early Welsh tales, because obviously Arthur was Welsh. They come, it's ask any Welsh about the story, and they'll tell you about the story, and they should be proud of that story. I grew up knowing about the story. I mean, also, then you see the films and things like that. Because we learned that this stuff at Hanging, we learned about unicorns and we learnt about dragons, and so where I believe the word they're real, but not in this dimension. Um, it's like because I believe in different dimensions. I believe in different planets and things like that, and I believe that obviously as we are in a human flesh, right? So I believe that we are souls waiting to go back to what we were before, because we've came here in our own free will to come to Earth plane because it's the hardest teaching school to awaken any other people's souls to what's going on and help save Earth from falling. Now, some such as Lancelot, Percival, and Tristan feature in the roles of protagonist are infamous hero in various works of chivalric romance. Other well-known members of the Round Table include the Holy Knight Galahad, replacing Percival as the main Grail Knight in the later stories, and Arthur's treacherous son Nemesis Mordred, which seemingly that I think if I can try to remember, he ruined things after Arthur died. But end of the Ephorian prose cycles, including the seminal Le Mort d'Arthur, the Round Table splits up into groups of warring faction following the revelation of Lancelot's adultery with King Arthur's wife, Queen 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 Guinevere. In the same tradition, Guinevere is featured with her own personal order of young knights, known as the Queen Knights. Some of the romances retell the story of the Knights of the Round Table, led by Arthur's father with her Pentagon, while others tales focus on the members of the Grail Table. These were the followers of ancient Christian Joseph Aphema with his Grail Table, later serving as inspiration of Uther and Arthur subsequent round tables. Now, there's obviously a lot back and forth controversies. There's stories of King Arthur, as I said. I believe that obviously King Arthur was real. I believe in the round anyway, because you still have like the Knights of the Knights Templar, who are very, very unique looking in them. And maybe do a video on the Knights Templar. And it goes way back to predated Christian times. So it's and a lot of these people were getting killed because of who they were and because of the Catholics and things like that. They didn't want things or anybody knowing the truth about because we Jesus was Jewish, but what they don't tell you is he didn't preach in the temples. The synagogues and like that, then he was very against it. He was for telling and spreading the truth because Jesus is the son of Sophia. So it comes through a higher divine because we are a higher divine. We have the God within us. He came, open up, spread your light to get to know thyself. You've got to learn how to get to know thyself. You've got to do the inner child work. You get to know yourself and awaken, open your heart chakras because there's more than your 7 chakras. You've got your root chakra, your sacral chakra, there's your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your crown chakra, third eye chakra. So you have got, but there's other chakras and there's people teaching this. And I find this, I was christened, so I was in a Christian church. Always believed, still believe but differently. A family, my ancestors, some of my ancestors were Jewish. Family were born here in Scotland, some in Northern Ireland. I don't know about my mum's dad's family. All I know, they went to Ireland and then came here for a different country. So we're still trying to find that out. Um, but I believe that we are, I mean, because heaven isn't above you, there is no hell. That is religions. To, what they do is instill fear, to still control what every single governmental is doing to you today. It's all about control. It's about awakening your soul and awakening to the truth. Not just the truth of what they're doing, but the truth of everything, because this is just an illusion, and it's about waking up to that illusion. And it's about each and every one of you have to do it on your own and at your own time, and when you're ready, not when I tell you you're ready or somebody else tells you you're ready. These books are I mean, if you were to see one of my boxes that have been packed up, I think I've got more than 30 books, Bibles. I have even Quran and things like that because I like reading and like learning. So it's, but because I was brought up, I wasn't allowed to speak about Hitler when I was at school because of what happened to obviously everybody knows what happened with the Holocaust. And then you have this Antifa mob and all that going, that's calling Jews Nazis, and that's the last thing that they're. I mean, it's the worst thing you can say to a Jew. Tell you that right now, it's wrong. So, to me, they're waking up to the truth of what the people they believe because they're paid to be there. Do you know that? But that's another story. But come down to the nights at the round table, something I just something I've always been intrigued by. Always been intrigued by. The numbers of knights of the round table include King Arthur. Their names vary greatly between versions published by different writers. The figure may range from a dozen to many, potentially 1,600. The number of seats at the table, the latter claimed by Letterman and his brute. Most commonly, however, there are between about 100 and 300 seats at the table, often one seat usually permanently empty. The number of 300 was also chosen by King Edward III of England when he decided to create his own real life order of the Round Table at Windsor Castle in 1344. In any chivalric romances, there are over 100 members of Arthur's Round Table, with either 140 or 150 according to Thomas Malroy's popular Le Morte d'Arthur, and about 140 according to Eric by Artman von Aue. Some sources often offer much smaller numbers such as 13 in the Diary of Percival and 60 in the Count by Jean de Outremus and his like Mare des Histoires, which is to do with history. Others, I know teeny wee bit of French, bits and pieces. I've not done French for I was at high school. I mean, so I can recognise some words. Others yet give higher numbers, as much as 250 in the Prost Merlin and 166 in both Le Chevaliers and Du Epis in Perse. Else, where this is the peak number, nevertheless dwindled to only about 25 at the time when the story begins. Now, to me, as I said, I believe wholeheartedly. I believe there's a lot more to history than what they're telling us. Because when you dig for history, you start going down the rabbit hole what they don't want you to know, and the truth that they try to hide. And as I said, they're doing it now. They're trying to wipe out the history of people. Certain religions like Catholic, Jews, Christians, they're trying to wipe them out, and because of one religion, and that is done by design. That is done by design, and everything from even here is everything has always been done by design. It's back even when Jesus was around, when he was alive in his human flesh, because Jesus didn't die on the cross, but they think you want you to know it was somebody else. This is what you did, and I was actually shocked, right, with the truth, because I remember the Library of Alexandria. The Catholics burnt that down. Why the Romans burnt that? Why did they burn that down? Because there was stuff in it that these people didn't want you to know. And a lot, even at that, they said they burnt it, but believe me, they got it out and put it in. It's where all the popes are in the Vatican. Cicerone de Troyes suggested about 500 knights in his early romance. Eric and Enid, in the same work, writing calculated many of Arthur's top knights in a series of long hierarchical list of names. Their rankings are different in each of the surviving manuscripts, none of which is believed to be the author's original version. While not mentioning the Round Table as such as one of the late Welsh triads lists 24 extraordinary knights permanently living in Arthur's court, mixing romance characters with several Arthur's warriors from a largely lost Welsh tradition considered to originate in old Celtic folklore. Companions of Arthur's, numbering 24, also appear in the Welsh tale of Prydur's son of Twag. I appreciate the Welsh and things like that. We could also live with the Gaelic in Scotland. It's Gaelic, but as Beardo even said, we were never taught it because the English forced upon the English language within us. Even the language then wasn't even spoken about the way it is today. So it has been changed and altered and over. It's like the calendar. Now, the calendar isn't the months that you think it is just now. Now, take with the turtle, right? With how many we think hexagons are on its finger. That's how many months in the true calendar is, the true cycle of months there is. Because going back, it's like before Christianity and all that, it used to be pagan. So we had all that. And now there's such a division with colour and things like that. I probably was maybe probably wasn't not the way it was today. Back in 200 BC, I bet it wasn't the way it is today. But it was the reason the division is with different colours and why now people call you racist and all the rest of it for being, say, my colour of skin or somebody else's colour of skin, and it gets used just for the sake of getting used now. It's because it's the division. It's the division of from governmentals higher up and the religions. And this is why we want to come together, and I've always said come together united rather than divided. I mean, what do you think about Do you think the stories of King Arthur is true? I do, but that's my opinion, right? But what's your opinions? Because I'm intrigued, and obviously I love history, right? Always have. I mean, if it wasn't for my ancestors, like my grandparents, her siblings, and my grand's aunt and uncle that I've met, that you learn about the history. I learned about a lot of things and how they came. They went to America and then came to Scotland during the First World War for Lithuania because you obviously they were pagan Jewish because in Lithuania it's something it's traditional. It's pagan Jewish. Um, I wasn't brought up Jewish. My mum wasn't christened or anything like that. Never, they never had the time because my granddad, my mum's dad was in the Navy, so they travelled different places, so they never had time to get christened or anything like that. Um, so, I mean, back in the times, it's like bloody shoeboxes and all the rest of it. So, compared to nowadays, everybody's got beds. See, you think you're lucky to have what you have. I mean, I'm lucky to have at least a roof over my head, and I always say that, right? And why I always say that, we think of people that have nothing. I mean, even back then, in time after, people were sleeping straws of hay. I mean, so, and it's always, you think it's always people that are, we didn't put these people in power. Always remember that. We didn't put people like King Arthur in power. We didn't put people like the Windsors in power because if you did a digging even with them, they are not the true royals. One of the royals, the true royals, was um, is he was found in Australia, and he asked, "Why do you not fight?" And he said, "This is my kingdom, is Australia. This is my land here." With his children, but they have the full right to the throne, but they won't do it because they've grew up there and that's all they know. And that's fair enough. But because if you even look back to King James fled, right, to France, but he had the seal and he tossed it. And obviously somebody grabbed it and they tried to doctrinate it because you're not allowed to break the seal. Once that official stamp goes on, you're not allowed to break that seal. But they try to, because the only time anybody is allowed to take the throne is when a king or a queen die. James didn't die. William and that took the throne because, and plus, they dissolved Parliament and obviously have a new Parliament. None of that happened. So, see, Parliament and the monarch is all false. It's all falseness. They're not real kings, queens, nothing. Nothing to do with bloodlines, nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. And I don't, that's why, because these people are brutal. And if you look into other people, those stories about it's conspiracy, but some conspiracies sometimes actually turn out some of it is true, right? Some not. Don't believe it unless you actually know true facts. I don't know the true facts. I just know what I see, and I can't trust these people. I never have been able to trust these people. I've never been able to trust one part of Westminster or any of the governmentals up here or anybody, any governments anywhere in near another area you should. We are being manipulated on purpose for all sides. Do you think these people don't talk to each other? And do you think it's funny that we're all arguing and fighting against each other? And that's for here to Israel to Gaza to Iraq, Iran, because even, and people know like this, Pakistan used to be one country. It used to be India, and there was some controversy, and they split it into another country so people could have their own freedom, do what they want, and it turned out and it was named Pakistan. So, and that was during, I think it was just after the Second World War, or what? So it was just about that time, or just before that time. It was. Um, as I said, I like doing history. But what's your thoughts? I mean, to me, when it comes to King Arthur, I do believe that he's true, and also I believe in Queen, Queen, the Queen, and Lancelot, and the Knights of the Round Table. And also, I believe that he's also, when he passed, he went away to his special place, and a lot of people who believe in things like that believe that he's going to come back. I mean, I believe what I want to believe, but I don't want to. I mean, I'm only giving you stuff that I know I've read historically, not just about this, about the monarch. I have got a book and it tells you about the list of different names, about their families and things like that. And I got that. I was like, are you joking? I mean, the book I'm reading just now is a philosophy book, and you're talking about 3,000 pages. I'm only in 500, uh, page 500 and something. So it's a long way. It's a long, it's a lot of words. I mean, I always try to challenge myself as an autistic person to learn different things. So even with me being partially deaf, if I can't see it, I'll try to see it. And if I muck it up, I'm very sorry. Okay. But as I said, what do you think uh, everything with King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table? Do you think it's true? Or do you just think it's a myth? I think it's true. I've always thought it's true. There's there's a lot of history, as I said, that's not been it's been hidden um, from all of us, and it's about you finding out the truth, not just about me saying what's the truth. It's about you as a collective. You need to listen and do your own digging and learn your own truth, because the only person, and you're the only person as a collective that will learn how to open up to yourself, open your heart chakra, and and things will start revealing themselves to you. And that is true facts. Give your comments in the comments below, see whatever you think of this. And as I say, I believe in King Arthur and things like that, but it's up to, but it's what's your opinion? Because I said we all have our opinions. We're entitled to the opinions. It's free speech. So as long as you're not very nasty or whatever, but just be kind to each other. That's important. Okay. Sending love and light, and good night.